So one of the exciting things I'm seeing in the payments industry is embedded finance. And as I've gone to all these different conferences in the past year that are payment specific, I've noticed that even some of the largest brands and some even medium to small brands are getting excited about monetizing existing portfolios or using embedded finance to really go sell more to a net new merchant. So what does that mean, right? If you are a powerhouse at selling payments, you maybe haven't been offering, merchant checking accounts or lending or deposits or, ACH solutions. And now you can do that with embedded finance and you can actually own more of the revenue. So it gives your team the opportunity to monetize again that existing portfolio, but also give your agents and your sales reps the ability to make more revenue on net new customers. And I feel like it feels natural for the merchant because they're already buying financial solutions from these brands. So why not, expand that portfolio? And really where it comes down to, and what I've also noticed, with customer experience is that you need to have a good program when you're selling multiple solutions, right? I find that actually with payment orgs, it's easy to sell. It's easy for them to sell point of sale and gateways and new solutions that they find. What's very tough is how do you support that complex ecosystem of products? And that's where I've seen a lot of groups lean into more of a CX, find a more of a CX role in their company or have their operation managers, their support managers focus on the customer experience and the journeys on, if I have a customer doing payments, now checking account and maybe lending, those are three products that they're boarding. How do you create a customer journey that's in sync and makes the customer feel like they bought from a great brand, they're staying with a great brand, and they're being supported by a great brand? That's challenging. And so that's where I'm seeing a lot of excitement about CXM, a lot of excitement about CX is just, what are different ways that we can sell more, but create a better experience from the get-go. There's two primary issues I see in the payments industry when it comes to customer experience or customer success. And one is visibility, and the second is branding. And so visibility, it's the ability to see into your partner's world, right? If you are a ISO that has an acquirer on the back end being Pfizer and maybe FIS, and you're also boarding with TSYS, and you're selling two different terminals through two different ISVs, and you have your own native platform, there's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle. And when it comes to organizing kind of that chaos, for your merchant. So when your merchant calls in, you want to get visibility into all of those different products. You want to get visibility into your ISV and have knowledge on how to support that product. You want to get visibility into your acquirer to see if the merchant, for any reason, had any updates or changes on their end, you can be able to assist with that and speak to that. And that really does reflect on branding, right? When someone buys from a brand, they want to feel like they're catered to by that brand. They don't want to call that brand and them say, "Oh, sorry, that's not our product. You need to call this group," or "Sorry, that's not our problem. You need to call a group called Pfizer or FIS that they've never heard of," right? Or maybe the ISV solution, maybe they have a terminal app that's working on PAX, but it's not a PAX issue. It's actually an issue with the ISV and the terminal app that's on there. Again, it can be very confusing for the merchant, but also confusing for the customer experience staff. So one of the things that they've been doing is really leaning into CXM and CX for getting better visibility, building a better brand experience, and making sure that their support team, their customer service team can speak to all of those issues and sound relevant. So then therefore, they get a better brand experience overall. So I think a lot of the payments companies are very aware of what's happening in the banking industry. And while it's not affecting them just yet, it will start affecting them if they don't really take hold of their customer experience. And really, I find that a lot of the banks have always been a little bit more nervous about what's going on because these big fintech leaders, are coming after their portfolio. But the same thing is starting to happen a little bit on the payment side, right? Once these large groups like Adyen, Stripe, start taking in-house payments or in-person payments, and they start taking a hold of the market, I think it's going to really, really shake up the payments industry. So how do payment companies really overcome, those issues? And one of the things I find is, using a CXM platform or really investing in CX can actually make your team, more lean, right? Not having to go hire, fire, train, and retain your staff when you can utilize a platform that makes you really efficient, creates great customer journeys, creates automation, adds features like chatting on the website or an SDK, a help button on the smart terminal to get you, answers quickly or get you to the right team at the right time, rather than everyone just calling into an 800 line, a very unintelligent, conversation, very terrible routing. We don't know why you called in. We don't know who you are. To have the ability to answer those questions automatically, or again, get them to the right person at the right time, makes your team so much more efficient, right? So as, again, the market's changing, and it gets a little scarier for payment companies, I think the more that they invest in creating a product and an experience that, again, can keep their team lean, and they don't need to go hire, fire, train, retain a bunch of employees just to take on all that volume from the 800 number. I think that's where we'll see a lot of investment in payment companies in the next, let's just say the next 12 months. A big piece of advice that I've been giving to a lot of payment companies and people that I work with in the payments industry is that mediocre will kill you. Being mediocre is really your downfall. You have to stand out, especially as we saw in the last few months with Silicon Valley Bank, where it's easy for anyone to pick up a phone and change bank accounts at the drop of a dime. It's going to be really easy for merchants, and it already is really easy for merchants to pick up their phone, go online and quickly buy a new smart terminal or payment terminal, or even have the payments going through their phone. So the way to stand out, my advice is find ISV solutions that really matter by vertical. Find a really good restaurant point of sale. Find a HIPAA compliant payment solution for your doctor's office and dentist's office, because as these large fintech leaders and banks try to take over the payments industry, if they're not providing those ISV solutions that actually help a merchant on their day-to-day and helping them succeed, they're not going to be able to compete with the payments industry. The one thing that payments industry does so well is that they sell really well. They got the feet, the foot soldiers, the warriors, the agents out in the field going door to door. And while community banks and banks, sometimes have that, it gives them a little bit more flexibility to sell maybe a little bit more of a complex solution than just a terminal, than just a terminal that does your, a quick checkout with tax and tip. You can get more creative on cash discount, dual pricing solutions. And the one thing that I will also say in regards to that feedback is, make sure that when you set up these new solutions and you start selling these new solutions, you create a great customer journey. And that being, it's easy for them to sign up. Once they sign up, they feel like they bought from your brand. They know what the next step is. I always compare it to like Marriott Bonvoy or Hyatt member. Like, you check into a hotel, you get a text, Mr. Marzelli, how you doing? Great to have you. How was your check-in? They email you restaurants on site. Merchants should have that same experience, right? They buy a smart terminal from a brand. They get a text, hey, it's on the way. Here's where it is. When it arrives, maybe they get another text, Mr. Marzelli, have you been trained yet? Would you like to get trained right now? It's not displacing human touch, but it's giving merchants the ability to talk to, the ISO when they need to, talk to the payments company when they need to, but also, let them self-guide themselves to resolution, let themselves guide themselves through the customer journey. If you just sell them a new point of sale or a new smart terminal and you don't give them that guided experience, they don't know where it is, it arrives, they don't know really who to call, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't make me want to buy more from that brand, right? So it's all about, again, provide great solutions, but also find a way to create a great customer journey that they want to buy more from you and they want to stick with your brand given their experience with you. One of the ways that a lot of payment companies can use, customer journey orchestration is by not just creating a great customer journey from A to B, right? If I buy a terminal or if I buy a point of sale and I have this great brand experience from the beginning, they're emailing me, they're texting me, I go on my merchant dashboard, they're showing me, again, where I am in the process, where I am in the journey. That's one piece of it, but the ability to actually find friction points, right? Where am I losing customers? Why aren't they getting activated? At what stage in that journey do I find the most friction? That's really helpful for a lot of the payment companies. Not just because, again, it's creating a better customer experience, but you can also find, where can I upsell other products? Where can I start talking about other products that we had, with embedded finance, if I have lending, if I have, maybe dual pricing options for them. There's a lot of opportunity to sell more to those customers. And if you just create a journey where they sign up, they go active, and that's it, you're actually giving up a huge opportunity to sell more that you have. And if you're providing a great brand experience in that customer journey, they're going to want to buy more from your brand. And if you can give them a bunch of solutions that will make them, again, a powerful merchant with help them, drive their business, help them make more money. I guarantee, you're going to make more money, and I guarantee they're going to, give you more referrals, and you're going to grow your brand pretty naturally. One of the problems I see in the payments industry is traditionally they're boarding their merchants and their acquirers estate, or their acquirers kind of HQ, and they don't really have a good branded merchant dashboard. And again, that's confusing for the customer when they buy from them, because they buy from this brand, but all of a sudden they're in a Fiserv dashboard, an FIS dashboard, a TSYS dashboard. It doesn't feel good. So in today's world, if you're not providing that merchant dashboard, for all of your customers, and you're not creating that great experience where they log in, they're seeing your brand, they have tools to communicate with your brand, they can see where they are in a customer journey, whether it be an activation, a training, or even if they have open support tickets. I think that that's the next step that a lot of payment companies are going to need to take to really set themselves, ahead of the competition. And also, again, give their team the ability to win more business by providing that great brand experience up front. We're starting to notice that a lot of payment companies and a lot of ISVs are having a lot of success with CXM, for a few different reasons. One is you can build a branded, merchant dashboard. You can build this branded customer experience. And one of the things I think they really enjoy is the chat ability to, have some AI in there assisting them. Again, not displacing human touch, but getting them to the right team or the right person at the right time, or pulling up their statements, pulling up some quick knowledge. Even if that knowledge lives in a third-party platform like Salesforce or Jira, they can quickly have access to it through their branded, merchant dashboard. And another piece that I feel like ISVs absolutely love is that branded help button, the SDK in the smart terminal, right? So if you're a brand, you can have that branded help button in the bottom right corner. You click it, it says, Mr. Marzelli, how are you? You're already pre-authenticated. It has that same AI experience where we can grab information for you if you need to, or you can even just create a ticket for the support team. Say, hey, somebody call me. I'm in a restaurant. I'm busy, but just somebody give me a call. I don't want to chat through the smart terminal. Giving payment companies the flexibility to use these different tools has been a huge success for them, right? They can come in, they can say, here's the CX, here's the customer experience that I want from my customers, or even by portfolio. And we can really naturally, help them customize that journey, create that customer journey. And, we just see instantly that the NPS score is going up, that there's no churn with their business. Everyone is buying more from their business because they're having a great experience. So that's again, one of the things that I've seen a lot of payment companies and ISVs lean into Ovation CXM for. What made us so successful in building out our CXM engine is that we had this CX service team that did remote support and field services since 2014 for some of the largest ISVs, some of the largest brands, and some of the largest payment companies, in the world. And because of that, we were kind of our own customer, right? We drove a lot of the feedback for what made CXM so successful in supporting all these different products and different brands at the same time and across so many different platforms. And that's why it's never been a closed off platform. We know that some groups are going to love using Salesforce. Some are going to love using HubSpot. Some are going to use Gainsight, Medallia for feedback. Whatever it is, it's the ability to say, I have a centralized hub, and no matter what my partners are using, no matter what my different teams are using, if one team wants to use Microsoft Dynamics and maybe Microsoft Teams, if one group is using Slack and Salesforce, I have the ability to communicate with them in a centralized place. And that's what's made us so successful as a company, is while we had that whole service component, we were always software first. And it's the only way that service component was so successful. It was the only way that we could do national rollouts and help, again, support the largest brands, is because we had a software that we built that made it successful. The payments industry is absolutely wild, and I have no idea where it's going to go. I think one of the things that I've predicted, and I'm still holding on to, is that cash apps are going to make a huge impact. First on banking, peer-to-peer payments, faster deposits to my bank account. But I think that they're coming after the payments industry next, right? How do I utilize my cash app to pay a merchant directly and kind of cut out the interchange fee? I really think that that's going to be one of the probably most interesting things to follow along in the next, let's say, 5 to 10 years. It'll take a long time to change, because I think that there's a monopoly in the US with the acquirers and the card brands, but someone will disrupt it. And I'm really curious to see who that's going to be. So one of the ways I see payment companies taking advantage of AI or chat GBT is the ability to provide a help bot within their merchant dashboard or within the application using an SDK to help guide them to get to the right team at the right time, the right person at the right time, or maybe pull statement analysis to pull information from their knowledge base and not displace human touch, but again, make sure that they're providing qualification questions. So we're not the same person, not everyone's just going to the same person every single time. And then on the back end, I think a lot of the ways that they can utilize chat AI and chat GBT is that if I'm supporting maybe two different terminals in our payment company, and I have one different gateway, and then we have an ACH program, we have a lending program, and we have a point of sale that we're supporting. That's a lot of product knowledge to obtain. And you might be good at obtaining some of it, but having some chat assistance to say, okay, merchant A called in, here's the product that they're using, and quickly start referencing, articles and product guides based on their questions, based on the conversation that you're having. That's another way that I see a lot of payment companies, ISVs, and banks really taking advantage of ChatGPT and chat and AI.